An impressive resume. He played for the Calgary Stampeders from 1994 until 2007. There is not career longevity like that anymore. He was a 6-time All-Star, winning 2 Grey Cups in 1998 and 2001. And on January 23rd of 2024, he was named president of the Calgary Stampeders. We say hi and welcome to Jay McNeil. Jay, welcome to the Sports Cage. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. We appreciate you making some time for us. Let's go back to when you were named president of the Calgary Stampeders, January 23rd, 2024. What was one of the most important things on your list to try and accomplish or get done when you took over the top job of the team?
Oh man, that was we had a long list. There's no doubt about it. Obviously our struggles on the field, 23, 24, pretty challenging. And our organization and our fans, much like Rider Nation, have high expectations and expect a winning competitive team. And so that was, sort of front and foremost. But also, we were having some challenges off the field as well. We were at one point, for a long time, leading the league in attendance, and since the pandemic, we've been struggling, and so helping the Calgary Stampeders become relevant in Calgary again, was the second piece to that. So two very important and fundamental pieces to our success as an organization.
Jay, that's not an easy job, and I've always appreciated, since you've had this role, your honesty. Because in Calgary, much like in Edmonton, they're NHL cities. The Flames and the Oilers dominate. At one time, you couldn't get a seat to a Stamps or an Eskimo game. I know they're called the Elks now. That's like climbing Mount Rushmore in a pair of flip-flops. That's no small task. No,
you're right. Like it's... part of it, it's an interesting, we had the perfect storm here in Calgary. And I think, Edmonton had a little bit, something very similar. You think about, in 2015, we had over 21,000 season ticket holders. Into this year, we've got 13,000. So we've seen a 45% erosion of our season ticket base. And that started when the price of oil declined in 2014, and corporations and people had to make some pretty hard decisions about their spending, and we were impacted by that. And then we know what the pandemic did. But throughout that time, we were leading the league in attendance, and so there really wasn't, an impetus to change the way we do things. And then, over time, especially that got accelerated since the pandemic, the way fans consume sports, the way they purchase tickets, they move to a last minute, it's changed, the sports and entertainment business. And we were slow to change behind, and so now we're catching up to that. So, yeah, a monumental task for sure.
Now, Jay, to say that, you weren't happy with some of the product and the results on the field, you had one of the most aggressive offseason roster makeovers I can remember in the CFL. A lot of new faces, our Calgary Stampeders this year. Is that Dickinson coming to you saying, hey, is this a collaborative thing? And because that's gutsy. It looks good now, but that doesn't always pay off when you do wholesale changes like that.
No, you're right. And it was a collective. Maybe I'll start, a little bit before that. Whether we're on the business side of things or on the football side of things, one of the challenges I brought to our organization was, we need to look at doing things differently. We need to look at selling tickets differently. We have to look at marketing ourselves differently, and we also have to look at what we're doing on the football field and what can we do differently from a player recruitment standpoint, from free agency, from all those sorts of things. And we had to evaluate everything that we had, and then, where we needed to go and build from there. And so, throughout the second half of last season, we knew we were going to have to make changes at the end of the year. And so, we evaluated everything, decided, okay, these are the pieces that we need, and this is what we need to go and get. We were very specific as to players, as to positions, and where we thought we were, where we could show some improvement. And then, Dave was a part of that process, and then him and his personnel team, and then, they did a great job on executing on that. And I think one of the highlights, we wanted to bring in good football players, obviously, but we also wanted to bring in good people and people that love the game of football. And they've done a tremendous job of identifying those players, going to getting them. And then the players need a lot of credit as well, because they've come in, not necessarily a group of players that knew each other. And we had a new, defensive coaching staff, and that entire locker room came together really quickly and bought into what we were trying to accomplish as an organization. And the players have really, done the rest since then. They've been so great, and they've been fun to watch.
We're chatting with Jay McNeil. He's the president of the Calgary Stampeders on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Riders and Stamps on Saturday. We'll get to that in just a bit. Jay, did you feel confident that you could make over this football team? Because you were part of some of, I would call CFL royalty. You were around the Wally Buonos and the John Hufnagels. You guys were the best of the best for a really long time, and you set the bar in the CFL. Is that what you're trying to do again with what you and Dickinson are trying to do now?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, since we've been awarded the Grey Cup to host the Grey Cup in 2026, we get a lot of questions about, hey, are you guys trying to build a team to win the Grey Cup in 26? And we're not even talking about 26. We want to win the Grey Cup in 2025, and we'll worry about next year when the time is right for that. And so, it's about expectations. And our expectation as an organization is to deliver championships on and off the field. And, fortunately, had some great mentors and some great examples of how to do that in Wally and in Huff. And you look at a lot of, the ex-players that have been here and had a lot of success. And so, really trying to get back to that same expectation of winning on and off the field.
One of the ideas that we tip our hats to, because we're actually have stolen your idea from the Stampede Bowl. We came up with the Pilsner Cup. We're trying to put it together. It's kind of like our fake trophy game. You can kind of guess what the trophy is going to look like. We've got some fake things going in the background. But the Stampede Bowl, when I first heard about this, I'm like, all right, this sounds like a lot of fun. And then you had you make up the crazy trophy. Then you bring in Brett Michaels from Poison to do halftime and all of that. Where did that idea come from? Because, hey, hats off. From 10,000 feet watching as a fan, I really enjoyed it.
Wow, thank you very much. Well, I guess where it started is, so traditionally, for 80 years, we have not played during Stampede. And, since I've been around, came back at the end of 2022, and we, in 2023, we booked off the 2 weekends of Stampede. And so we ended up hosting a home game the weekend following Stampede. And so in 2023, we hosted Ottawa. Traditionally, a family day is a big game for us from a ticket sales perspective. And so we said, let's after Stampede, let's have the family day game. And we ended up selling about 20,000 tickets, and we had 15,000 people attend the game. So, okay, let's do things a little differently in 2024. And so we went to the league and we said, hey, we need to have a Western Division opponent to help try to sell some tickets for that game, to give us a fighting chance. And so they ended up scheduling BC. So we brought back the Wall of Fame for the first time in 10 years. And we put Wally Buono up on our Wall of Fame. Obviously the winningest coach in CFL history, legend. Just a huge name in our league. And we sold 20,000 tickets, and we had 14,000 people attend the game. And so, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. So we said, what about playing a game during the Stampede? And so we approached the Stampede, and to make sure that we weren't stepping on their toes, and said, hey, this is what we would like to do. Could you partner with us on this? And they got behind us immediately. and said, we feel this is very complementary to each other. And it just grew from there. We went to the league gave us that game. And then, as we dreamed about what this could look like, it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And we took some inspiration to what BC's doing with concerts early in their season. And how do we make Labor Day is a big game for us, Saskatchewan's a big game for us, and we wanted to create a third big game. It was there was some skepticism. There was a lot of people excited about it, and in the end, we were, very pleased with our first year. And from a ticket sales perspective, more importantly from a fan engagement perspective in Calgary, but across the country and even into the U.S. as well. And so we feel we accomplished our goals from that fan engagement perspective for the Stampeders and for the CFL. And excited we're already strategizing on what we do next year to make it even bigger. So it's exciting.
Well, when I first heard of the idea, I thought this is kind of like the movie Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell and the Flint Tropics, where they're going to do the Flint Mega Bowl. There's going to be a giant trophy, and we just say Mega Bowl, Mega Bowl over and over again, and then people buy into it. I couldn't believe how invested Brett Michaels was. I follow him on social media, and he's doing Instagram reels, and he's sending out tweets, and he's putting out Facebook posts, and then you see him a couple days before outside his private jet, and then the morning of, he's flying to Calgary, and then he's tossing a football at sound check. That's got to help, because normally entertainers, you know this, Jay, you cut a check, here's our rider, what we need, leave us alone, we'll do what you pay us for, and we're out of here. He just seems like the best kind of guy.
I'll tell you what, we spoke to him on the phone in March. This was we'd already signed, he was signed up to come and play, and we built a little script about how we were going to, what we were trying to accomplish, and how he could play a role in that, and what we were hoping that how he might get behind this, and so we built this script up, and he came on the phone and he said, "Guys, I know exactly what you're trying to do. I'm not like any other artist. I'm going to come there and I'm going to make this big and support you guys and help you get there. And we're going to have a great time." And I'll tell you what, he exceeded expectations. Him and his band, they were tremendous from everything that you described. He was signing autographs. He was anybody that asked for a picture. He was there to do that. And he was, like I said, exceeded expectations by a mile. And just a down-to-earth, good person. And we were really happy. It couldn't have been any better.
Jay McNeil, president of the Calgary Stampeders, joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline here on the SportsCage. Well, I'm sure you had it circled on your calendar for a long time. Whenever Rider Nation comes to town, it's usually always a fun night. But an 8-1 Rider team up against a 6-3 Stampeder team. Two best teams in the league. We'll go at it on Saturday. As an ex-player, do you kind of get that twinge a little as you get closer to game day, remembering big showdowns like this and what that kind of meant going on in your world?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I do. I still get an adrenaline rush on every game day. This is a big game, obviously, for both teams. But it's also, from a business perspective, it's a big one for us as well. We always ask the CFL, please schedule the Riders on a Saturday in the summer.
Yes.
Like that, yes. You're doing us a big favor. And so, they did. We're 5 o'clock. We couldn't ask for a better kickoff time. And fans are responded. We crossed 25,000 tickets sold today, and we're still selling strong. So we're excited about that. But, having a winning team and having two winning teams battling for the first place, that certainly creates the hype, and we all know there are a significant amount of Rider fans living here in Calgary. So there's a lot of energy around the city about this game, and I'm excited for it. It's, like I said, just hearing you describe it, I can feel my adrenaline start to rush. And so it's exciting. It's going to be a ton of fun. The weather is going to be great. And we got two really good teams that are fighting for first place.
Now, I know that you guys sell Molson Canadian, you sell Coors Light. For a game like this, do you have to say to Molson, do you have to alter the beer order a little bit and do get some Pilsner for all the Rider fans that are coming to Jay, you got to accommodate us. I mean, it's going to be hot on Saturday. What are you going to do? We're not going to die of thirst.
You know, there's a lot of pill to be sold on Saturday Saturday evening,
right.
but yeah, right. I don't know that we're going to have any available for them. We got to maintain some level of control, I think.
It couldn't be better, Jay. We love what you're doing with the Stamps, and we we're rooting for you. Hey, anybody that wants to create a game with its own trophy, like the Flint Mega Bowl, watch out. Pilsner, the Pilsner Cup may be a cheap knockoff, but just know you've given us that inspiration to make this. We're dreaming, and nothing is off limits as far as the Pilsner Cup and our planning committee when we get our football game going. Jay, we really appreciate you taking some time. Best of luck on Saturday. If it's funny, you can't miss you. Jay, how did you play 13 years? That doesn't happen anymore. There are no 13-year careers in the CFL. When you read your Wikipedia, do you go, really? Was it that long?
My instant reaction was, man, that seems like a long time ago. I was incredibly fortunate. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's a lot of things have to go right to be able to do that. The funny is, it wasn't up until recently I was at an event and somebody announced that I had the third most games played in Stampeders history, and the only two people ahead of me were kickers. That might be one of the things I'm most proud of. Now, it's since been passed by Rene Paredes, so I was happy for him. I'm still the longest-serving non-kicker, so that's a pretty cool stat.
And you went to Kent State, same school as Julian Edelman, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Nice. That's
I don't know that we get mentioned in the same. I don't know that we get mentioned in the same conversation, but still, it's still the same school.
Jay, have a great afternoon. We'll try and track you down at the game on Saturday, as Rider Nation's going to show up in full effect, and we appreciate you taking some time here on the SportsCage. Thanks. It's Jay
thanks
McNeil.
very much for having me, for all your support.